Thank you so much, Sumi, for the kind introductions. And good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you all are keeping safe. Over the last couple of months, I'm sure all of us have been surrounded by a whirlpool of questions that how deep is this crisis? What is the path to recovery? When will this end? What do we need to do? And rightly so, because it's been an COVID-19 has been very, very unprecedented, something the world has not seen in the last 100 years. And I don't think any of us have the right answers. But I'm sure there is one mantra that we all can follow, and that is a mantra for crisis, which says that stay put, do what you are doing and do it like really well. Innovate and get yourself to do things better. And it's not all gloom and doom. We've been hearing a lot about funding is going down, investors are backing out, banks are not funding, but good entrepreneurs and good businesses are always going to see a strong comeback, and there are going to be funders for that. And I would like to quote Ratan Tata over here, where he's recently he's come forth and said this very bold statement, saying that I really don't know what some of the economists and all are predicting, but they are completely underestimating the human motivation and the human efforts. And he went on to saying that, after the Second World War, economists and experts had predicted that there's no future for Japan. And in 3 decades, Japan came back fighting fit and giving an answer to US in almost all the marketplaces. So with that, I think let's kick off our conversation with Kanwal. Kanwal, thank you so much for joining us today. Kanwal, there's a lot of noise in the market in terms of, what is happening, how is the funding going to happen, what are small businesses and SMEs going to do? Because, if you see, the early stage funding has gone down by 30 to 50% in the last quarter. And banks are also very resistant, apart from the Atmanirbhar package, which is asking banks to lend. So what's your view on this scenario? And how do you think this is going to evolve over the next 6 to 12 months?
Thanks, Ratna. And thanks for Global Linkers for having me. So, like you said, Ratna, unfortunately, there is no one or an easy answer to this question and many other questions which are all COVID-19 related. So I would simply say that right now, the advice that we are giving our companies, the feedback that we are seeing in the market is there is a need to hunker down. First, I think before I even talk of funding, it's really about the design of the business itself, because there is no way that things are going to come to normal even in 6 months. Optimistically, we are talking of a 12-month window now, and if the vaccine comes and so on and so forth. So one of the things that every business has to critically examine is what is the core of their business and can they sustain it with the least amount of cash. It's easier said than done, but we have 20 portfolio companies, and each one we have been sitting one by one, doing multiple different scenarios, including zero revenue to 25%, 50% revenue, and so on. So one is you have to first be realistic about what do you need the money for, and how long can you sustain it? I have a slightly bad throat, not hopefully COVID related. So I will speak a little louder. I got a comment from somebody. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Kanwal.
Okay. So what I was saying is that the first, critical examination is how do you design your business for managing with least amount of cash? And is there, pivots which you can make? We have a company which had a chain of yoga studios, which completely got shut down. So they had to pivot their business to a digital first, online, virtual classes. So, we have seen scenarios which are pretty dramatic. And that is the first, I would say, critical learning for us for the last 3 months. On the funding piece, I would say two aspects to it. One is we have been, very positively seen positive response from the government. Like you mentioned, the Atmanirbhar package. There is also a SIDBI program for lending to very small SMEs. So the government is making an effort, but clearly, that's not going to solve everyone's problems. VC funding is always going to be limited in terms of the scope of how many deals that a VC industry can do. I can tell you from my 20 years of experience, Ratna, you have deep experience as well. I don't think anybody would say a number better than 1 out of 100 deals we see get done. So therefore, there is no panacea solution to just VCs or private equity coming and solving the problem. Good companies in the right space will get funded. We are already seeing some very exciting companies in the pipeline. Yes, there is a shift in consumption and pattern of consumption. So e-commerce, digital first, wellness, nutrition, immunity, these are all the themes that we are seeing actively getting funded and actively getting support from investors. But there is also, we have started seeing another set of investor type. I would call them the family offices, the HNIs, people in the ecosystem who have also realized that putting all their money in either real estate or public markets is not necessarily the best answer. So since a lot of our investors in the fund are Indian families and Indian family offices, we are starting to see actually a very positive interest from them in investing in young companies. So if you have a company which has a business model which can show continuous cash flow, which can kind of design the business in such a way that you can start showing cash flow, then there are options of debt, options of some structured equity products. So I think this is the time to be most innovative in the way you are both looking at the business and source of funding, and be willing to do a little bit of navigation around is it core to my business or not. Those questions can be I think answered a little more tactically today, because that's the need of the hour. So let me pause there. Again, no one answer, but certainly we are seeing some green shoots in terms of different types of
Right.